So I just watched John's and Father Fish's videos. Um, just if you haven't watched them, just go catch up on them. It's the um, mild differences in types of aquariums, uh, high maintenance aquariums versus low maintenance aquariums, essentially. And I think they both are aware. Well, let me just start off by saying that what we're observing is mostly a difference in personalities, not necessarily a conflict, and also a difference in styles of aquarium keeping. Um, and both are valid and reasonable, but um, I think Farther Fish is a little bit attached, a little bit more attached to his viewpoint, and that sort of has exasperated some of what we've observed in the community. But anyway, I feel for everybody involved. What what I'm observing is, and I thought about this a little bit, and I thought one of the biggest demarcations in aquariums could be, you guys are gonna have to forgive my spelling. Something's wrong with my brain. I don't spell properly, so excuse me. But there's this is not the best word, but there's the natural, and then the more pushing the limits of technology and through human ingenuity. There's oh, I don't want to use the word unnatural, but let me see if I can find a better word. Maybe supercharged, and maybe more designer. I think this might be a better word, designer, because this will even include some of the aquascapes too, because they are also mildly unnatural, right? And I'm not going to write that word down because I don't think it's fair to um, these setups. And I think these might be the two camps, and then from here they branch out and go God knows where. But so I think that Father Fish's setups are natural, limited, because you're going to limit number of fish. You're going to limit costs, because you're also limiting filtration. So you're not. He's got low filter, so it's low filter. And these tanks I call, Father Fish's design I call low input tanks. And these are what I would call high input, a little bit more of a technical labeling. And believe it or not, I think newcomers are actually going to be here. And there's two reasons why newcomers are going to be here. Because they're not going to get mud and dirt, and they're not going to do that. What they're going to do is they're going to buy the fake decor. And they're fake. There's nothing wrong with the fake decor, but that's what they're going to do, and that is sterile. And so he's right. So he's right that this is sterile, but John's also right, because he's saying they're not going to do this, and then you're going to say to them, don't do a water change, and they got fake decor, and they're not supercharged, they're not designers, they're not aquascapes, they're not high input aquariums, they're fake aquariums. And if you do that in combination with his input, right, they're not low input tanks, because they, they haven't incorporated any natural elements into their fake decor. You're going to end up with dead fish. And that brings me to my another thing is the learning curve in aquarium keeping. The fish pay the price. Pay for our education. And so I think God, I hope I'm saying is I hope I'm right with KG. I feel like an idiot, but anyway, God, for some reason I have his name as John in my head, which makes me feel like I'm ignorant of the subject. But anyway, I watched all the videos. I'm sorry about that, KG Tropicals. Yeah. Well, excuse me for that one. I guess I'm not going viral. But anyway, so let me get back to this. And so they are really two different. One of the biggest things that hasn't really happened here is educating the newcomer on, and you know what, for the most part, there's a learning curve, and fish are going to pay the price for that. What they're going to be is they're going to be low input tanks with fake decor. They're going to have limited filtration, but they're not going to have that natural substrate thing going on, and they're not going to develop it, because especially the other thing too is when they're changing water, which is another reason why I think there's a decent point to be made here about the water changes, is the chlorine. Oh God, I wish I could spell. The chemicals, is it Cl? No, because I think that's something else, but I think Cl is type of chlorine. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, it's late at night. I just watched the videos. I was doing some homework, and I actually couldn't stop thinking about the beef, and so I thought I'd just do a quick little summation. And this, and I can elaborate on this more, but I think it's high input. The best way we would describe it would be like a low input tank versus a high input tank, which means that you got high fish yields, you got high filtration, you got high water volume, you got high costs because of the electricity and the risks and the value of the fish and stuff like that. And this is more of a low input tank where, there's low food, you got high feeding, high feeding, which new people are going to do, right? Low feeding, which they're not going to do. Yeah. And not for nothing, I do think Father Fish's style of aquarium keeping is a little, there's even though it's going under the realm of this is nature, this is natural, there is an extreme element to his demeanor around it that in its own way could be a form of unnaturalness. Like, this is considered extreme here, and that's a form of unnaturalness. But at least the extremeness here is being recognized by the designer. Like, not only do they know they've gone over the top, they're pushing the limits gladly. And I think, Father Fish is pushing his own limits, and I just don't know. And he's dropping back onto nature and saying nature's taking care of that, but I don't think he's fully aware that he's pushing a natural limit, that he's pushing nature to its limits as well. And I think, the low feeding could be a point of topic. The low filtration could be a point of topic. These are areas where I think there's room for improvement in this natural setting, and that could actually be more natural. So, anyway, I guess this is the big maybe takeaway from the video, is that fish pay the price for our education. Um, um, and yeah, just to have some compassion for the fish, because there are no fish rights in this pet community, and I think that's something that maybe we should all try to work on. Um, and I'll do a better, more clear video. I'm just gonna throw this one out there. All right, guys, thank you.